I'm doing a little pre-show yoga. I spot some whales. It's whale season down in Mexico. And then my phone starts going off. News on news on news on this Tuesday in the NFL. It's what we do. And we got to celebrate some incredible careers, some incredible playoff berths. And we do it right now on the Up and Adam Show. Let's go. Vamos. Breaking news here on the Up and Adam Show, not on the Up and Adam Show, but in the world of the NFL, a legend decides to hang it up. J.J. Watt retiring, breaking the news on his own after such a tremendous career. He said, Koa's first NFL game, that of course, his baby, my last ever NFL home game. My heart is filled with nothing but love and gratitude. It's been an absolute honor and a pleasure. J.J. Watt announcing his retirement from the NFL at the end of the season. We're talking a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, Walter Payton Man of the Year, poster boy for the NFL. And I bring him at Hamilton because we got news on news to get to. But, I said, why is he doing this? And you said, what do you mean? He's had a great career. And I'm like, well, I want to see him go.
Yeah, I think he's just at that point. It's been a trying year, I think, in Arizona. I think he feels he's accomplished, pretty much everything there is. I know he didn't get that Super Bowl win, but as you mentioned, those 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards, he's one of 3 guys in NFL history to do that, with Lawrence Taylor and Aaron Donald as the other 2. So his legacy is pretty much cemented. I think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer for sure.
He certainly is. And the question is going to be, I have a couple. Hall of Famer isn't one of them. Is this a real retirement? We know he's been through some health issues, of course. He's got, a different things of priority of importance. He's got a child, he's got a family, and all of that. But I don't really believe in retiring anymore. I'm just going to say it. I think guys like Rob Gronkowski, I think Aaron Rodgers will do this too. He'll mull it over. He'll retire. He'll unretire. It's super annoying. But JJ Watt, I love you. I'll celebrate your career all we want. We can show up your highlight. I'm not buying it. Hamilton, that's just how I feel. I'm not buying it. And we'll see what happens with that. But congratulations, JJ Watt, on such a tremendous career.
And I think that's fair. I mean, he's only 33, turns 34 shortly. So, if he wants to go somewhere, he could still be a contributor on a contending team if he does want to come back and do that. But I think you hit it on the head too. I think those health issues that have gone on with him over the last year or so, that he's been pretty public and pretty open about. I think that has to play a factor here too, as he starts his family. I think he's prioritizing his health.
He certainly is. Okay, so I'm going to lose you for a second. I mean, here I am. Hold on. Oh, poor Hamilton. I didn't mean to really say bye to you yet. Never mind. We'll get back to Hamilton. This is day 2. No. It's okay. Thank you, Richard. We're all good. We got to look at the playoff picture, but some really exciting stuff is happening around the league. So congrats to JJ Watt on that. And then, of course, there's a firing we have to get to. But first, the Chargers punch their ticket to the postseason last night. So fun. Could they do it? Will they always be banged up? No, their injured guys are coming back at the right time. So here's how it's going to look right now. We're looking at the Chargers, LA taking care of business. I'm going to show you guys some of this stuff. Of course, they pick off Foles, who just had a terrible game 3 times. 20-3 was the score. Not a very exciting game. And this is their first playoff appearance of the Justin Herbert era. So coming off a team that is perennially cursed. It makes me think I can win a couple parlays. It makes me think I can do anything. It makes you think, by the way, this isn't some cute storyline. They can go ahead and make some noise. This is such a step forward for Herbert, for Staley, for Telesco. And this is one that they had to take this season. We joke, my entire crew, we went to that Chargers-Titans game, and I'm, Tom Telesco, pay attention to me. But he couldn't, because his job is on the line. All of their jobs are on the line. They've faced so much scrutiny, so much doubt, and they've battled through so many injuries to key players that are getting back at the right time. It's really beautiful and powerful. And Staley, specifically, well aware of what this moment means for the organization. And here he is after the game.
Dan, I think it's just the beginning. This is not our final goal. We expected to be at this point. I'm really proud of how this season has gone for our football team and what we've been able to demonstrate in order to make it into the postseason. That's probably what I'm most proud of, not just being in it, but how we made it, what it took for us to get in. But this is just the beginning for us.
So they're healthy. They're building momentum at the right time. So much of a Super Bowl run or making waves in the playoffs is based on timing. It's all based on, is this team healthy? Do they have the juice? And they finally have Mike Williams. They've got Keenan Allen back on track. And then we get, the great news that Joey Bosa will be back and practicing this week. And Slater, he might be out there for the playoffs. So if they have all of these guys, how could they not make waves in the playoffs? Because if you look at it, it means 5 of the 7 teams in the AFC are decided. You got the Bills, you're looking at the Chiefs, Bengals, Ravens, Chargers. They're all in. The last 2 spots are for the AFC South winner, which comes down to a Week 18 showdown between the Jags and these Titans. And the final wildcard spot with the Dolphins, Patriots, Jets, and Steelers are still alive. So there's this. Congratulations to the Chargers. I'm happy I got to go see a regular season game, and I'm happy that I maybe go get to see a playoff game with this squad. And my camera is on a table, my computer that's wobbly. So apologies. And hopefully we can fix that. I was on the beach yesterday. Monday, New York Times crossword puzzle, the easy one. So I feel smart. I'm whizzing through it. I'm reading some article about how NBA players are obsessed with how they wear their socks. I'm really just enjoying my mid-morning carajillo here and listening to the waves. And then boom, we get waves of news. So much going on. Mike White returning this week to play a hero nonetheless. Get the material, send them over to Martha Kent so she can sew up a Superman suit, slap on a cape, because here we go. He's being charged with rescuing the Jets' playoff hopes and their chances with a battle against the Seahawks this week. Then elsewhere in the AFC East, very disconcerting, very disappointing to see, just worrisome news about Tua Tagovailoa entering concussion protocol once again. And I said this before, and I've said this a lot. Players are going to want to play. We're going to talk to Darius Butler about this. I'll ask Mark Ingram about this, current player and former player, different perspectives. Players are going to want to go out there, show some grit, show their teammates what they're made of, especially the leaders on these teams. It's a culture problem. And I hope that he has enough people who actually care about him speaking up and then understanding what's at stake long term. We have to protect our players. And I don't know if that's happening, but I think everyone can agree that we can do a better job on that. So Mark Ingram on a bit about that. Darius Butler will be here. And I got to ask him about, Josh Norman to the Panthers. Did that happen, or was that a fever dream that I had? And then the biggest news of the whole thing is that Nathaniel Hackett gets dumped just 15 games into his head coaching career. And the assistant that he brought in is going to take over in the interim. So let's take a look at some of that stuff as we see it. This season has been a disaster. I've never, everyone at the water cooler here in Cabo is like, is this the worst trade that's ever happened? Not in the NFL in sports. And I'm like, see, I think so. Absolutely. What a disaster. They get embarrassed on national TV by a banged up Baker Mayfield Rams squad. Broncos brass had enough. And you hate to see anybody lose their job. It's incredibly difficult, I imagine, to be an NFL coach. Ask any of them, ask anybody who's ever tried to be one. But kind of like I'm saying, players are going to want to play. Coaches are going to want to, coaching candidates are going to want to take those jobs. Like if you're going to dangle a head coaching gig in front of somebody who maybe doesn't have the experience and can't do it, like they're going to take it. That's what's going to happen. And so that's a little bit on the Broncos. It's not all on Hackett. They hired someone with little head coaching experience. They took a leap of faith, sure, and it busted. And I'll say this, it's a fun little science experiment. Granted, Brady and Belichick, we were wanting to distill that in a test tube a long time ago. But think about this. You remove one of them because it's like the biggest conundrum of all time. What is going on here? You take him out and you get to find out how much of this was Nathaniel Hackett. Was Nathaniel Hackett handed a washed up Russell Wilson? And now the swirly name is Sean Payton, of course, belle of the ball. If he goes there and he all of a sudden gets our guy Russ to cook, then the Hackett hire is probably going to be looked at as one of the worst in the history of the league. So essentially, if you boil it down, and Broncos fans, I feel for you. I can't even imagine. I feel for you. It's like worse than being a Bears fan these days. Seriously. Much worse, actually. Much, much worse. Either the Broncos made the worst coaching hire in NFL history, or they made the worst trade or extension combo in NFL history. And they better hope that it's the former, because they're going to be stuck with the other one for at least 2 years with the way that contract is structured. So whoops all around. Hamilton, get back in there. Did I miss anything in the news yesterday?
I was saying, just as far as Hackett is concerned, when you look back on this too, the hire was made, I think, kind of the unspoken thing there was this was an attempt to lure Aaron Rodgers away from the Packers,
Yes.
get him to kind of push his way to Denver and accept a trade there. And then they kind of, once that didn't happen, it was like, okay, what's our backup plan? They make the move for Russell, and you have this head coach quarterback combo that was never really the right fit. So just all the way around, I mean, I think it was an aggressive swing to get Hackett as a way to try to get Aaron Rodgers. There really was no plan B. They kind of had to make it happen as they went along and try to make it work with Russell. So, I think on one hand, you kind of commend them for taking a swing to try to get one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game on board. But obviously it blew up in their face, and it's got to be tough for Broncos fans to swallow this season and this morning as they process everything.
Do you think if you're Sean Payton, you're interested in this gig? We'll ask Mark Ingram like what kind of a fit he would be, but there'll be many a coaching seat open and available for Payton if he wants them. Is this attractive?
I think it depends on how you view Russell Wilson. If you're Sean Payton, do you think there is still something left, or do you think he's washed up? And I think from Denver's perspective, I think that's why you make this move now, is to try to get an early crack at Sean Payton. Start talking to him now. Start trying to lure him in before some of these other jobs might become available that may lure him away. I think you want to be as aggressive as possible. Make this move as early as possible, so you get your first shot at Sean.
I don't think Sean goes to Denver. I can see the allure, but Sean has come on our show and said it doesn't even and to the surprise of you and myself, who've been like following his career admirably for years, he kind of like doesn't care about the quarterback or something. Doesn't he say that? Like it's not the most important thing. He does. He said that's more about control. Can I go in there and do what I want to do? Is this a new ownership group? Maybe potentially. Sometimes it's kind of fun to go to a new place that doesn't know what they're doing, and you can do what you want. Like it's true. I know it. And I don't know. Does he, I don't know. It's interesting. It's like more of is it more of a startup there? If they've got history, of course, or, some of these coaching jobs that might be, I don't know. I don't know. And then if the Cowboys, everyone's putting him to the Cowboys and trying to connect those dots, but you can't get rid of McCarthy if the Cowboys make waves.
Maybe he's waiting to see what happens on Wild Card Weekend before he makes his decision. And
I hear he's on vacation this week. Maybe we'll ask him to make an appearance on the Z program. We'll see. Okay, cool. We'll be back after this. Hamilton, I appreciate you. So much breaking news. Give me a break, NFL world, for 1 second. No, I'm kidding. Let's bring in Darius Butler after the break. He is here for Shutdown City. Did I dream that Josh Norman signed back to the Panthers? Did I dream that happened?
It happened.
Darius, don't you go back to the Colts. Don't you even.
Bang, bang, not again. Go, Pack, go in Miami. Go Bills. Merry Christmas. It's a Bengals win. Come on, go home, be Santa Claus.
Early Christmas present, you know what I'm saying?
That was big boy NFL football.
We are a resilient group.
Great job.
You know, it wasn't pretty. Don't have to be as long as we get the win.
And we work for this feeling every single week.
Be grateful and be thankful.
Hey, I'm proud as hell of everybody in this huddle, man.
It's Christmas. We got that win. We finna go celebrate.
1, 2, 3. Yes.
Those are all of your winners from the week that was, week 16. And now we bring back the Sultan of Shutdown City, the creator of all things DB, and my personal fitness coach. But please do not make me do push-ups in Cabo. I did do yoga this morning, Darius Butler.
Hey, something. We got to keep trying new things and figure out. We got to get these parlays hit because you're picking some good ones. Picking some good ones, Kay.
I heard. Okay, we got to get to this because nobody's hitting parlays. And when somebody hits it, we need champagne showers. We need to celebrate this bad boy. Darius Butler had a same-game parlay hit last night. Let's talk about it.
Hey, man, Chargers, I played it extra safe. I took Chargers plus 3.5, even though they were minus 3.5. Mike Williams, 50 yards. Keenan Allen, 70 yards. He walks in the stadium with 70 yards. And then what was my last one? And also Eckler, TD. I mean, this guy's 15, 16 TDs on the season already.
Yeah.
Finally got a hit. I think it was around plus 700. We needed it. The family needed it. The fans needed it. I damn sure needed it. So I'm glad we got it. But, hey, just keep plugging at it, man. Keep going.
What's it like? What's it like to win one?
Feels good. I'm not gonna lie, it feels good. This one felt good going into it though. You know, my Colts, and you know, these are two of my teams. I love the Chargers, obviously love the Colts. And I think I wanted my Colts to lose this game. I wanted us to lose this game. We had to lose the battle to win the war, however it goes. But we need a high draft pick. We need to start from scratch, get this thing right. But Chargers, Justin Herbert finding the playoffs.
Well,
excited for that as well.
Me too. I mean, and it's not just a fun, let's celebrate that and go home. Like, they can keep going. They can really do some things, especially these guys that are coming back that are healthy. It'll be incredible to see. You're on a bit of a heater and you're happy, you're bragging about it. So let's double down. You're on a hot streak. Is there a bubble team in the AFC or NFC that you want to right now on the Up and Adam show sort of throw in with to make a run in the playoffs?
Oh, to make a run.
Just to do something, to really make some damage.
Jags. The Jets are a tough out. You know, with Mike White finally getting cleared and he getting back in there. The weapons obviously put up numbers when he's in the lineup. The defense has been great all year. Can Mike White actually make a run in that AFC? Probably not. So I'll go to wild card. I go back to the Chargers. I think they can make a run. They were my preseason Super Bowl pick. So I think they continue to get healthy. They get those offensive tackles back. You get Joey Bosa back. Obviously, Derwin James, he knocked himself out of the game last night, but he'll be back. The Chargers can definitely make a run on that AFC side. And then for the other side, the two old guys, you let those two old guys get into the playoffs somehow, some way. You let Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady sneak into the playoffs with a lot of unproven quarterbacks on that side of things, in the playoffs at least. Anything can happen. So this is the most exciting time of the year for football fans. Brady most likely will have a home game in the playoffs as well, so that'll be interesting to see on that side.
I mean, we're really going to let Tom do this again? Really? Okay.
Hey, and he's gonna call it's Gronk. Not looking good.
He's going to call Gronk. Gronk's going to. It's all going to be a thing. It's all. It's cliche at this point. Tom Brady making it's cliche. Come on.
It's not looking good though. I would be shocked at this point. I'm not gonna lie to you. I will be shocked with how it's looking in Tampa right now.
I agree. It's so crazy. Not looking good. Okay, let's talk about the Nathaniel Hackett firing, because it's such a mess with what's going on there. Fired by the Broncos. Yeah. You've got a $250 million quarterback there. Who, not named Sean Payton, would be your choice to fix this franchise?
Oh, Sean Payton wouldn't go there. I don't think.
I don't either.
The defensive coordinator, young defensive coordinator, he's been great. What's his name? Evero. Last name Evero. Young defensive coordinator.
Sorry,
obviously, the defense has been great. Can you hear me?
No, I can't. I can't now. I couldn't hear. You were asking something and I couldn't help you out. It's okay. Go for it.
The defensive coordinator, Evero, I think he'll be a good call for him long term. You know, you're obviously tied to Russell Wilson for the next 2 years. He's a defensive guy, so can he fix or hire someone to fix Russell Wilson? And I mean, fixing Russell Wilson, that's priority number one for whoever comes to take this job. I've never seen a quarterback fall off a cliff like Russ has. And you committed, $250 million to the guy. And it looks all mental for a guy that's played as long as he have on the level that he has. It looks all mental, like he's stuck in his own head. The guys don't believe in him. The coaching staff doesn't believe in him. It doesn't look like he believes in himself right now. So somebody's got to come in and fix him. Maybe even Kellen Moore. He's been a hot name for some years now from the offensive side of the ball. And then, you know what? Go to Jim Irsay route. Bring Peyton Manning in there. Offer him $100 million to come in here and fix Russ and get them to another chip. They haven't been to the playoffs since that Super Bowl 50 win, which is wild.
Do you think Peyton Manning could fix Russell Wilson?
Peyton Manning can fix anybody. All right. When it comes to their quarterback position, if it's one guy now, would Peyton Manning want to coach realistically? Probably not. But if I will put all my eggs in that basket of Peyton Manning being able to fix any quarterback, and obviously Russell Wilson is going to, respect them to the utmost as well. But they need something, and they got to figure it out soon because whoever comes in and takes that job is tied to Russell Wilson for at least another 2 years. So that's tough. Oh, sorry, man.
It's not, and we feel for the Broncos fans more than anything, obviously. But just another coaching seat. Yeah, but then you look at what's going on with the Panthers. They remove Rule, and now under Wilkes, they might win the division. Like they can do the whole thing. So things can change on a whim. The quarterback position, something they can not figure out. They've never been able to figure it out. I don't know why that is.
Wilkes should have that job in Carolina, in my opinion. You fire Rule, and then you go on this run. They just ran for over 300 yards in a huge game for him in a big moment. Traded away C-Mac, traded away Robbie Anderson. I think Wilkes won that locker room moment. He should definitely win that job long term.
We love to see that and love to hear that. Okay, let's do a little bit of talk to some legends here, and I'm talking about J.J. Watt, who this morning said he's retiring. He's done. He said it's his last ever NFL home game. He's filled with gratitude. He's happy. J.J. Watt, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, Walter Payton Man of the Year, NFL poster boys hanging it up. Darius, what are your thoughts?
Man, incredible career. When he got drafted, nobody really knew him like that. Nobody expected him to be what he became in the league. But I unfortunately had a front row seat to a lot of his best performances in that AFC South. But him in his prime, he was one of the most dominant players I've ever seen play on the defensive side of the ball. If it was getting 20 sacks or getting 20 PBUs at the line of scrimmage, playing on offense, and then what he did that year. That was actually the year I was my team's candidate for the Walter Payton Man of the Year. And everybody in the league knew who was winning it, because I believe J.J. Watt raised like $40 million for the Hurricane Harvey. Everyone impacted in Houston by that. So shout out to J.J. Watt. Hell of a career, and your little brothers will continue to carry that torch.
It's so beautiful that was back in 2017, and it was in 19 days. I think he raised something like $37 million for Hurricane Harvey. So what he's meant to the league and to the community he plays in for so many years and so many ups and downs. And I think a lot of people are going to say, he's a wrecking shop lately out there, right?
Yeah.
He's past couple of weeks, right? And people are saying, but he's not done yet. He's not, he's still got something to give. He's obviously made peace with the fact that he's done, and he's just giving it all he's got these past couple of games to get it out of his, to just leave the best taste of himself on the field, I'm sure. People like to make the end of careers for the legends for them, and it's over until he unretires like everybody else, Darius.
You don't want to get wheelchaired off, and he's obviously played through a ton of injuries throughout his career. Much like Gronk, who's been coming on here a lot. Shout out to Gronk too, joining the FanDuel fam. But he's played through a bunch of injuries throughout his career, and he's always played the game the right way when it came to how he played between the lines. So, he walks off on the court, obviously made a ton of money. And it's tough, when you're losing too. If he was winning or going on a run, it would probably be tougher to make this decision. But being in a team and organization that's not necessarily trending in the right direction, I'm sure that makes it a little easier. It makes it a little more peace of mind for JJ, man. But he deserves it, and I'm sure whatever he'll do in his next chapter, I'm sure we'll be seeing him around a lot. So once again, 100%. Salute to JJ Watt.
Let's go to your Dolphins. You didn't mention them as a team that you think can make a run. Brutal and then awful because Tua is back in concussion protocol. What do you make of your Dolphins?
Yeah, well, obviously Tua been in concussion protocol. That's something we're all concerned about after what we saw earlier in the season with him. And I saw that hit live, and even with the replays and watching on all 22, it's still not giving that hit justice, especially when you hit the back of that head. That was a tough hit. But at this point in the season, I think you shut him down. And obviously we know what the Dolphins are without Tua at quarterback. We saw a small sample size of that this season. So I don't think we're going to make a run. Unfortunately, we started off like this, and then we tailed off at the end of the season. I was with my family, Christmas, and literally, family full of Dolphins fans are like, oh, man, they're going to do it to us again. Either start hot, finish terrible, or start terrible and finish hot. We just can't get a full season. But obviously, priority number one is Tua's health. And hopefully we use this season and continue building on it, continue to be better on defense. We should have been better on defense this year, and then hopefully get Tua, fully healthy next year. But if it was me calling the shots, I would just shut one down for the rest of the season and start looking forward to next year for him at least.
And McDaniel was at the podium and he said he cares about his players' health more than anything. So we'll see that, with what happened, 4 straight losses for the team. They've got 2 AFC East showdowns on the way to round out the season. So push for the postseason looking really bleak down there in Miami. Now some DB things are happening that we have to talk about. So I need some vintage DB PSAs to these guys. Oh, Darius, we got to go through some. Here it is. First is this. Okay. It's a debatable block, as I'll put it, from Mac Jones. Everybody's talking about it. Incomplete pass. It almost turns fumble, and he dives at Eli Apple's knees. What?
Bush League. This is Bush League. You don't do this. Look, we play ball. It's a violent game. Trust me. We're all playing full speed. You want to hit people as hard as you can hit them, and all these different type of things. But at the same time, there's a fraternity in the National Football League. And you're not trying to injure. You're not trying to maim anyone. And this was just dirty. You're going back, blocking back. Not even blocking. The defense has the ball going in to score, and you're just peeling back. And that's a dirty shot. That's a cheap shot. This is something to add on Mac Jones' list of dirty plays. And I think he's putting that red target on his back. And it's not smart for any player to do it, but especially a quarterback that's in a lot of vulnerable positions to do this. So Mac Jones is putting that target on his back. Not smart at all by him.
What does that mean? How should and how will defenses treat this? Because it's also not the first. Okay? It's not the first one. There's a couple questionable plays running around with Mac Jones.
I'll give you an example. We'll be watching the film maybe on, let's say, a Friday or something. Maybe it's a D coordinator, maybe a D-line coach, maybe it's a linebacker or a DN. It's like, hey, this is the quarterback we're playing this week. And they'll show that clip that you just had on and just rewind it. If you ever seen anybody watch film with that cowboy remote, they'll just rewind it won't talk much and just continue to show that play and know who it is. So that's something that everyone sees. And like I said, as a quarterback especially, it's not smart. You got dirty offensive linemen and defensive linemen. They do, they're in the trenches down in, down out. But quarterbacks, a lot of times they're out there and they're in vulnerable positions. So not smart, Mac Jones. Not smart, buddy.
Not smart is right. And then we've got this clip. Okay, so I'm going to show you this. It's Aaron Rodgers. He tried to catch the Dolphins with too many guys on the field. Mike McDaniel called the timeout right before the snap. Have you ever seen this sort of type of back and forth between an opposing coach and a player? Look at this.
I saw it. I mean, I have. You see it, especially when you got a quarterback. They're probably down in the same age. So, these are peers going at it. You've seen it with A-Rod and Mike Tomlin or Vrabel.
Yes.
But you know what? All the little quirky stuff, the little smiles, the little cool shirts and stuff. Look, it's cool, Mike. We want wins, all right? We want playoff berths. We want all that stuff. And he's done a great job. He's done a phenomenal job as his first-year head coach. But Dolphins fans down here, we're thirsty for some sustained success. But I like to see the personality come out a little bit. But,
does he have to reel it in now? Tell me what you, as a fan, not as a player.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. Be yourself. You always be true to whoever you are at his core. And I believe his players love him. His players love his personality.
His defense,
I'm just a talking head. Don't worry about me. His defense is on Josh Boyer, my former coach. So Josh Boyer, hey, we got to step it up. High standards over there.
I need to place a bet at FanDuel Sportsbook about when you're going to leave and go be a coach. I just know it's coming. I know you're going to leave and do it, and I'm happy for you.
1.5 years. That should be the prop.
Really?
That should be the prop.
Over.
That'd be a good.
I don't even know what over means, obviously, but I just hope you do whatever makes you happy. Okay, finally, I have to show you this one. This is, Darius. Come on.
Oh!
This is you.
I didn't know you. Oh! I didn't know.
I'm sorry. What is going on here? You're really going to break this poor kid's ankles like this on Christmas, the Lord's birthday?
I had the Chucks on. He had the Crocs. I mean, I found it very disrespectful that he thought he could guard me in Crocs. But, this is one of those situations where, I'm sitting at my grandparents' house. I see the ball, the pigskin getting tossed back and forth outside on the street. The street I was playing football on 5 years old. So I had to go out there and, you know, make a couple catches. When he threw this ball up, I had no intention of jumping this high. If you heard the sound, it was a grunt that came out of one of those things. I got to go up and do this. But I had to do it. I'm glad it was actually recorded because, you know, I don't know how many of those I have left at 36. Hey, but team.
Are you sore?
You know, I know you got Eric Weddle on a lot. You saw that run Weddle made last year, playoff run. Got guys lined up, made some plays. Hey, I got a good 25 plays for you out there if you're a contender.
Where would you want to go? Let's just have fun. Where would you go?
I mean,
You could pick anywhere to go.
Give me the top 4 teams. Give me San Fran. Give me Philly. Dallas is warm. They got a dome. Give me Dallas, Kansas City, Buffalo, and the LA Chargers. So those are my 6 teams right there.
That's 6 teams. Give me the one team that you would go to.
Oh, the one.
Yeah.
It's got to be warm. Hey, give me Chargers, LA Chargers, Los Angeles Chargers, baby.
You go to the Chargers.
Yeah, I'll fit in somewhere. I got to be warm, though, first and foremost.
Gotta be warm.
I
Okay.
see you. You were already in LA. You had to leave LA, and you saw a cold front and go all the way to hey, shout out to UK. I want to be like you when I grow up.
Thank you. So do I. We have somebody standing by who has a comment. He wants in on the conversation. Ingram, what's up?
What's
DB, what up, boy?
What's
Ain't
good?
nothing, bro. You out there abusing the neighborhood kids on Christmas Day, man?
Hey, you know how it is, man. You know how it is. The older you get, the better I was. But sometimes, you know, they see it, they gotta feel it, they gotta see it firsthand, man.
They gotta feel it.
No free passes. No free passes.
Because if he had locked you up and jammed you up, he'd be going viral, and everybody would be talking about you. So you gotta handle your business. You gotta do what you do.
Smart man. I would have been on somebody's TikTok or Snapchat and had no clue.
They would have been like, yeah, they would have been trying to talk bad to you. Has been, ain't been, whatever. You know what I mean? So
you get it.
I see the release. I see the release, the stat, the stem, the release at the top. Then we one hand, tiptoe on them.
We up there. The route was a little stank. I'm 36. I don't create the separation like that, but I can still go up and get it.
Hey, and Tony toe tap on the sideline, one hand.
Oh, man, hey, that's muscle memory. I was making sideline catches 6 years old, man. Come on, man.
I know that's right.
Mark, that child is wearing Crocs. That child is wearing Crocs. Does it change your opinion at all?
Listen, he pressed my man. So, like, if you come with the action, you got to be ready for the result. You know what I mean? If you can't take the heat, get out the kitchen.
Hey, you heard him.
Okay, so Mark Ingram is not giving you a red card for that. He is dishing out red cards. No, we're not skipping Shutdown City. We got to do Shutdown City. Mark, we'll talk to you in 2 minutes. Take me to Shutdown City. Darius, let's go.
Hey, let's go. Who we got, man?
Let's go.
Hey, speaking of LA, shout out to Kobe Durant out there, LA Rams. They put an absolute whooping on the Broncos. Got my man fired, but the Kobe Durant, HBCU legend, 2 interceptions. That's some nasty ones, too. Had an 85 one back to the crib. So shout out to the Kobe Durant rookie.
I like it.
3 picks. And then the old head, the OG, triple OG, still out there making plays. Picked off a nasty overall. You see it right here. Ooh, with that 7-0, so clean. Pat P, home team legend with another pick, still making plays. Vikings fight for that 1 seed. So shout out to Pat P. And then the mayor, first-time member, first-time mayor, Jimmy Ward. Best defense in the league. He's been back. He's been playing lights out since. Couple pick, had a pick against my Dolphins. Had another pick out here. Should have got to the crib. So shout out to Jimmy Ward, mayor of Shutdown City, man. So the Kobe Durant, Pat P, and Jimmy Ward. Shout out to those guys, man.
I gotta say, shout out to those guys. I don't recall Jalen Ramsey being on your list at all. He had a nice interception. Why no Jalen's been on your list? Yeah.
Jalen did have a nice pick back in the end zone. Russ rolling out. He did. Jalen, Jalen's had, if you talk to Jalen, I think Jalen will let you know he hasn't had the year that's up to his standards. That whole team, I think, has had a little Super Bowl hangover, which happens, but Jalen is still a Hall of Fame, putting together a Hall of Fame career. But he may spin the block and hit the city next year.
Maybe, I got a tequila hangover
too.
Here in Cabo, Darius. You're the best. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for all of the insights and a lot of news going on. So we'll talk to you soon. And then, of course, Mark Ingram getting in on the action here in a minute. Mark Ingram. Christmas is over there, Saints. Get your equipment, guys. Take those lights down. What's up?
Yeah.
I'm ready for war. I'm destined for greatness, that's where to Muhammad Ali. I'm up on the scene, I told you I'm up on the scene, yeah. I'm ready for war, I'm ready for war tonight. I'm ready to settle the score tonight.
Always has a smile when he dishes out those red cards. I'm telling you, but look out for Mark Ingram. Mi hermano is here. Hi, Mark, whose Saints won this week.
Hey, we got the dub up there in frigid brick conditions. We got that dub.
Coldest game in Saints franchise history. You weren't there, right? Is that such a blessing? Santa must love you.
Yeah, it wasn't there. I wasn't there. I was watching. It was my daughter's birthday. So I was able to, she said she wanted the Saints dub for her birthday, and my dogs came through for her. So my Nola Who Dat baby got what she wanted for her birthday.
I love that. The team was down 10. I'm sure you're watching it somewhere. It didn't look good.
No.
You know football better than anyone. Tell me what changed. What moment? I'm sure you talked to all the guys. What sparked the turnaround?
Listen, somebody got to make a play. Somebody got to make a play. Defense was doing a great job, just being strong. Kind of had some bad field position early on in the game. They pinned us back with the wind and all that, So it just takes one person to get stuff going, man. So I think they just stayed at it, stayed going. We was able to tie the game up. We was able to go ahead. We was able to dominate defensively and be efficient offensively. So when you do that, you don't turn the ball over. We had one turnover, but we overcame it, So you just got to keep chopping away. And I think they did that. They did a great job. They brought the dub home. And coldest game in Saints history. I also think it was the coldest game in Browns history. So them boys balled out. AK, big play on the choice route, running the ball, catching the ball.
He had such a great game.
Yep. Yeah, he had a great game. My boy Danny Sorensen out there with the pick, almost returning it for a tutty. You know what I mean? So a lot of guys stepping up, making the plays when you need it the most.
And you guys, you're very much in it. You're very much in play for the NFC South title, which is crazy. You need to win the next two games and get some help. And you've got the Eagles on the way. So best of luck to the Saints there. I want to talk to you a little bit because Sean Payton's sort of attached to this story and you know him so well. Anytime a coach gets fired, Matt Rule gets fired from the Panthers, I have to ask you about it. So the Broncos part ways with Nathaniel Hackett, and then almost immediately it's Sean Payton. If you're his reference on his job application, tell me why Sean Payton would be a good fit there.
Listen, if there's one person who I think might be able to get Russ going, it's Sean Payton. You know what I mean? So he's just a great offensive mind. They got great weapons over there. Russ, they got Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, my boy Latavius Murray back there toting the rock. 33 will be back. He toast the rock, back from his injury. They got a great defense already. You know what I mean? So if there's one person who can get that offense out of their woes, out of their struggles, it's Sean Payton. So
can you see him in Denver though? I can't see him in Denver.
I don't think he's a Denver guy, but you asked me if I was his reference, what would I say?
Yeah. No, I know.
I don't think so that's just what I would say as his reference. And hopefully, whatever it may be, but I just don't see him in Denver. You know what I mean? I don't think they have much draft capital. Sean likes to have, draft capital, so I just think the chips are stacked against them, maybe some other teams, but I don't think he's going to be in Denver.
Yeah. They got a $250 million quarterback that might need a coach, but might just be in his head or, washed. People are saying, I don't like that word, so I'm not going to say that, but there's a lot of things. Yeah. I don't think he ends up there either.
It's new. Maybe he's struggling a little bit.
Yeah.
Who knows what the case may be. You know what I mean? I remember playing Russ when he was in Seattle. Every time you play Russ, you had to be ready for action. Like, boy, it was, always a problem. You know what I mean? So I don't think it just drops off like that. But
so what's changed?
He's in a whole new environment. I don't know. Maybe people's environment. He was in Seattle his whole career. I don't know what the issue is. I don't know what the problem is. The offense has been struggling. The defense has been holding people to minimal points, keeping them in games, and the offense just hasn't found a way to pull it through, man. Whatever it may be, whatever the reason may be, I know it's difficult for those guys over there.
We're going to get to our favorite. It's really different. And those fans, those Broncos fans, we're going to get to our favorite game. The Tua thing I want to ask you about, because you've been in the league a long time. You care about the players. The turf thing is important to you. So I know concussion stuff is serious. You've dealt with concussions. And this is the second time. That's why it's a huge story, right? The second time this season that Tua's been allowed to finish a game after he has a head injury. And it sort of shows me like the system needs to keep improving and is flawed maybe. And there needs to be a better way to protect players. Over your years in the league, like, do you sense that it's changed? How has it changed from your perspective? And is there a culture issue in the NFL that needs to change too, where these guys feel like they have to play through stuff when they're not feeling great?
So as competitors, as people who feel like we need to do what's best to help our team, like risking it all to help your team, like I think that injury, like obviously you see it on tape now, but if the player doesn't come to you or someone around the player doesn't come to you, like it's hard to tell, you know what I mean? So, yes, they are supposed to have spotters. There are supposed to be red hat guys that see that and should have him evaluated. Yes, because you have to save the player from himself. You know what I mean? And the head injuries are not to be, messed around with. Those are long-term ramifications. And I care about Tua because I've loved him since he was a true freshman at Bama. I went down there for a spring game. Nobody knew who Tua Tagovailoa was. And I'm like, this dude's going to be special. You know what I mean? I love his family. They all have his back. But it's like we have to make sure we're taking care of the person before the player when it comes to head injuries and injuries in general. We have to make sure everyone is being super cautious before you put someone back out there with a head injury, because this has long-term ramifications for players. And you don't know what type of damage or what type of long-term health issues you could have from numerous concussions and numerous brain injuries. So I think they're trying to get better, but I mean, clearly the system has failed Tua in some respects this season. And we just have to do better as players.
Mark, is there a way you can think to fix it? It's a lot to ask you, but is there anything you see from where, like the players are going to want to play, so we have to protect them. Is there anything you can see that might be a fix for this?
So as players, we have to be real and truthful and honest with ourselves when we do feel unclear in the head. You know what I mean? Because there is times where you see a little, like dots or whatever, but you have to be real and honest with yourself. And your teammates have to be real and honest too. Because if you see a guy maybe stumble or maybe not looking like himself, like we all have to be honest and be accountable and holding each other to the highest standard to make sure we're all healthy, have a long-term health. And so we can enjoy, the benefits and the rewards that we have attained, to this point. So obviously players, individuals, we need to be accountable better. But I think, the spotters, the red hat guys, the coaches, it just has to be a collective effort, man. It can't be on one person.
Just add more, maybe. Maybe it's as a start.
I don't know, because to me, the obvious ones, like, okay, like those are easy, right? It's the subtle ones. It's the subtle ones. It's the ones where, Tua kind of falls back and he hits his head a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, did he get up wobbly and stumbly? No, I didn't see it if he did, but you knowing that he has had previous head injuries need to go up to him and check him and just make sure that he's okay and his vitals or whatever, his baseline is still on point.
I saw that play. I saw that the one that happened was subtle. If it in fact is that, I saw it. I noticed it. I saw what happened, but I didn't think concussed, and then I didn't think any of that. I really didn't. So it's the subtle ones totally that you're talking about.
Those ones are definitely hurt though. The ones where you fall and you boom boom and that head hits that turf, like rocks back and hits that turf like that. Those definitely like kind of ring your bell a little bit. But like I said, like the spotters have to know, dealing with him and dealing with him in particular, his history this year, you definitely have to go and check him and make sure he's okay. Yeah.
I mean, I had no idea he was hurt, but I'm just watching at home on my couch, right?
I didn't either. I watched at home too. I had no idea he was hurt either. So I think what I'm hearing is, I think there's a culture problem, me personally. I think players should be encouraged to, like you're saying, be honest, check in with yourself. Yes, you want to play through everything, especially the leaders on the team, right? Like, but you have to be encouraged to be able to come forth and say, I don't feel good. It's not good for me to be in the game. And I think sometimes the culture in these locker rooms isn't that. It's, you better get your ass out there and play. That is the culture for sure, 100%. Because I'm going to do whatever I can to be out on the field with my guys. You know what I mean? Like, you going through pain, you going through hurt. And sometimes, like, you don't feel like it's much. You feel like you just might have rung your bell a little bit. You don't feel necessarily concussed. But I just feel like you have to protect the player from himself because the player's going to want to play. You know what I mean? So we have to have the people, and we have to have the people in place to make the right judgment calls for the player, because the player is going to want to play. Unless the player is knocked out unconscious, like obviously, like, you know, the ugly ones that we have seen that we hate to see, a player is going to want to play. So we have to make sure that, you know, the people are put in place and putting the person that they are before the player. And
Mark,
it's difficult.
Your voice matters. Your voice matters with this because it's, you know, you've been doing it a long time. And I'm sure when you were younger, you thought you approached this differently than you are now, seeing and knowing what you know and being a veteran as far as injuries. And I just think it's really important. I appreciate you being so candid and open about it. We don't have time for red cards though now.
It's okay. It's okay. I mean, it's an important topic. I mean,
it is.
And it's something that we all have to get better at, man, because at the end of the day, we want long-term health for all the players in the league, and we want to make sure everyone is able to live a long, healthy life, a prosperous life, and be able to enjoy their families and whatever that may be, man. So it's something that we definitely have to get corrected.
You're beautiful. And all of our love to Tua, our love and prayers, and hopefully he has people who are advocating for him for whatever the rest of the season and the rest of his career looks like. Mark Ingram with the NFC contending Saints could win the division. Go beat the Eagles. Go do it.
Who that, baby?
Mark Ingram talks to you soon.
Who that, baby?
Who that, baby?